The Democrats are hemorrhaging working class voters. They love illegal immigration because they feel that even though they're losing working class voters because they're now the big business, big tech elite party, they feel that they can remedy the situation and increase their power by bumping their numbers. You don't believe me? Look at this Financial Times headline. Why they're hemorrhaging working class voters? Regardless of race. Patrick Temple West in the Financial Times. Top U.S. companies increase donations to Democratic groups. Executives shift contributions on expectations of Biden victory in November. The big business loves the Democrats now. These are their new home team. Home team, Democrats. Big business has totally sold us out in America. The Coca-Cola, Delta, NFL, Major League Baseball debacle, if that doesn't prove to you that these United Airlines, American Airlines too, they don't get a pass, that they have sold you out and don't give a damn about you, I don't know what will. And our reflexive response for business should probably change, knowing that big business is seeking the immediate destruction of America through racial politics. And they know they've got the Democrats to do it. All right, Dan, so some extra money is going to Democrats that maybe used to go to Republicans. That doesn't mean Democrats are no longer the party of working class voters. No, the Democrats themselves are worried about this. Here's the New York Times again, questioning this in a piece. Is big business the Democrats' new best friend? That's the actual title, folks. I didn't make it up. That's not Bongino.com. That's the New York Times. Worried about the exact same thing I just told you. The big business party, the big tech party, the oligarchy party, the we love racism party, because that's what a lot of what they do are, is totally racist, are now the far left. And working class voters are giving them the double-barreled middle finger, saying, nah, I think we're going to go with the Republicans now. No way, Bongino. That can't possibly be. My wife calls me Bongino once in a while, and she's like, once in a blue moon. It's kind of funny. Here's data from an actual Democrat. I know they'll probably call for me to be canceled again for citing a Democrat, David Shore, article on New York Mag again. A Democrat's concerns that working class voters, regardless of race, are abandoning the big business Democrats. Here's screenshot 2 from the New York Mag piece I said we'd come back to earlier in the show, and we're back. This is about Democrats getting whiter and more corporate. Democrats? You don't mean Republicans? No, I mean Democrats. Quote, again, from a liberal. Listen to every word of this. At the subgroup level, Democrats gained somewhere between 0.5% to 1% among non-college whites and roughly 7% among white college graduates, which is kind of crazy. That's the liberal saying this. She goes on. This is a liberal. Our support among African Americans declined by something like 1% to 2%. Yeah. This is a liberal saying. He goes on. And then Hispanic support dropped by 8 to 9%. That sounds like a lot to me. It wasn't a math major, but he says, listen, the jury's still out on Asian Americans. We're waiting on data from California before we say anything. But there's evidence that there was something like a 5% decline in Asian American support for Democrats, likely with a lot of variance among subgroups. There were really big declines in Vietnamese areas, for example. Anyway, one implication of these shifts is that the education polarization went up and racial polarization went down. Let me translate that last sentence for you. Democrats are getting a lot whiter and a lot more elite and snobby. Snobberooskies. I thought Tucker and everyone, the GOP, right? You're right. Geraldo, yeah, right, Beth. Believe, right, everybody's a racist. Everybody's a racist, except the fact that all the Republicans are racist, yet minorities, if we're such racists, we must be doing really a poor job at this. We must be the worst racists ever. Because as we're these glowing, red hot fury of racism in the GOP is attracting more minority voters. 8 to 9% more Hispanics, 2% more African Americans, potentially 5% more Asian Americans, and less white voters. gosh, if the GOP's full of racists, we are doing a piss poor job at it. Again, this is a leftist writing this. Proving again that Democrats are getting really white and really corporate. Working class voters are like, I'm not with those bow tie wearing Democrats anymore. You may say, well, Dan, you haven't really proved yet that they're losing working class voters. Oh, no, we will. Listen to this. This is a long quote. Again, this is going to take a minute, but listen to this too. Here's liberal David Shore again. Again, proving my point that this illegal immigration article, that the Democrats are not looking to replace any race or anything. They're looking to replace their loss of working class voters. There's nothing to do with race at all. Nothing. The GOP is increasing their support amongst minorities. Listen to this second quote. There's a narrative on the left that the Democrats' growing reliance on college-educated whites is pulling the party to the right. This is the liberals saying this, but I think that's wrong. Highly educated people tend to have more ideologically coherent and extreme views than working class ones. We see this in issue polling and ideological self-identification. College-educated voters are way less likely to identify as moderate. Less likely. So as Democrats have traded non-college educated voters, in other words, folks, working class Americans, for college educated ones, white liberals' share of voice and clout in the Democratic Party has gone up. White voters haven't gone up? I thought we heard the opposite. And since white voters are sorting on ideology more than non-white voters, we've ended up in a situation where white liberals are more left-wing than black and Hispanic Democrats on pretty much every issue. Taxes, healthcare, policing, and even on racial issues or various measures of racial resentment. Oh, inject that paragraph right in your vein. Better use a different phrase. Didn't mean it that way. Right in your veins. Inject it right in there. Let me translate that for you. Working class Americans don't give a damn about the things white upper crust liberals do. Does that about pretty much sum it up? That pretty much tie it together? Make no mistake, that's exactly what that's not what he says. He said he's a liberal, so he's got to dance around a little bit. That's exactly what he means. That the Democrats are falling in love with white upper crust liberals who are fostering all kinds of ridiculous narratives in the country. We need to defund the police. Everything's racist. Meanwhile, black and Hispanic voters are like, not really. Not so much. So let me tie this all together. Alinsky's rules again. Number 4, you damn well better make these liberal media symbiotic, malfeasant organisms. You better make them live up to their own set of rules. If they're going to call you out for telling the truth, that the Democrats have been hemorrhaging working class voters, black, Hispanic, white, Asian working class voters for years now because of their endless love affair with stoking racist flames in the United States. If they're going to call us out for calling attention to it, then we're going to call them out for actually calling for replacement on their own words. The New York Times and Julian Castro. And if the ADL is going to call us out for highlighting the Democrats' love affair with fostering a sick racist environment in the United States, then they damn well better call for the firing of that New York Times author or opinion or whatever, and Julian Castro as well. They are making a racial issue out of it when there's none to be seen. The Democrats are not losing white voters. They're gaining white voters. They're losing minorities because of supporting policies that damage minority communities. Defunding the police, fighting against school choice for their kids, fighting for higher taxes. What do you think? Because people are black or Hispanic, They just have this natural instinct to support higher taxes. That sounds pretty racist to me because it is. The GOP is the party of real tolerance. Real tolerance. You want to see real tolerance? Go to a Trump rally. Go eat at a diner in small town America. You want to see real tolerance? Go there. My wife is Hispanic. She's an immigrant from Colombia. We live in a relatively small town, maybe medium-sized town's probably fair. I hate these stories because then it sounds like it's it sounds like you're defending something you shouldn't need to defend. We have felt nothing but love here. Matter of fact, the only time we've had any problems was in New York City. I mean, minor things at best. The Democrats are making, and the ADL, a racist argument here because they are the real racists. They are pursuing policies, anti-school choice policies, defunding the police policies that will harm and destroy lives and futures in minority communities. And in order to hide it, they target people like Tucker Carlson, who have tried to call them out for their racist policies, their anti-immigrant policies. Allowing illegal immigration is an anti-immigrant policy because people like my wife, who are real immigrants who did it the right way and obeyed the law, how is that for them? Why did they, legal, patriotic, America-loving immigrants to this country who raised their right hand and pledged allegiance to this country in their citizenship ceremony, one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see, how is that not discriminatory against them? Why did they have to obey the rules if you're saying everyone else doesn't? You're treating two groups of people differently. That's the definition of discrimination. Legal immigrants who did it the right way, illegal immigrants who said, we're not doing anything your way, we're doing it our way. They get treated differently, no? One had to pay the fees, get immigration lawyers, pledge allegiance to this country. The other just walked right in. You're the ones involved in discrimination if you support that.